Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between towering mountains and lush green meadows, there lived a little girl named Rosie. Rosie was known for her golden curls, her bright blue eyes, and a curious heart that longed for adventure. She lived with her grandmother, who often told her magical tales of dragons, fairies, and other mysterious creatures living in the mountains. Rosie would listen to her grandmother's stories with wide eyes, dreaming of the day she'd go on an adventure of her own. One sunny morning, as Rosie wandered near the edge of the forest picking wildflowers, she spotted something unusual. There, lying in the grass, was a large, shimmering green scale. It was unlike anything Rosie had ever seen. The scale sparkled like a precious gem under the sunlight. She picked it up, feeling its smooth surface, and gasped. This must belong to a dragon, she thought, remembering her grandmother's tales. The trail of scales leading to the cave. Following a winding trail of green scales, Rosie ventures deeper into the dense forest, her small figure dwarfed by towering trees and shadows. Rosie meets Zoran in the cave. The cave is dimly lit by small shafts of light filtering through cracks. Rosie stands face to face with the dragon, Zoran, who has a gentle, wise expression. His scales shimmer like emeralds. Zoran takes flight with Rosie. Zoran spreads his massive wings, lifting off from the forest floor. Rosie holds on tight, her face filled with exhilaration and wonder as they soar above the mountains. Aerial shot of the landscape. A sweeping aerial shot of Zoran and Rosie flying over rivers, mountains, and lush forests, with Rosie laughing joyfully as she gazes down at the world below. Fairy meadow reveal. The meadow is a burst of color as Zoran lands. Tiny fairies with shimmering wings dance around a crystal-clear pond, leaving trails of sparkling light in the air. Fairy Queen's invitation. A close-up of the Fairy Queen, a tiny, radiant figure with a crown of flowers, fluttering in front of Rosie and extending her hand to invite her to dance. Rosie dancing with the fairies. Rosie joins hands with the fairies, twirling in a circle as they all laugh. The flowers around them bloom in vibrant colors, responding to the magic of their dance. The enchanted forest reveal. Zoran and Rosie fly over an ancient forest, where the trees are tall and gnarled, and mysterious creatures peek out from behind the leaves. The worried mother deer's plea. A timid mother deer steps out from behind a tree, looking up at Rosie and Zoran with pleading eyes, as she asks them to find her lost fawn. Finding the lost fawn, Rosie spots the tiny fawn hiding behind a bush, its big eyes filled with fear. She crouches down, extending her hand gently to coax it out. Rosie calling out for the lost fawn. Rosie, standing in the forest, cups her hands and calls out for the fawn. Her voice echoes through the trees, and animals pause, watching her with curiosity. Mother and baby deer reunited. The mother deer and fawn nuzzle each other affectionately, their reunion filled with warmth and love as Rosie and Zoran watch from a distance, smiling. The sun setting over the forest. As Zoran flies Rosie back home, they pass over the forest, which is bathed in the warm, golden glow of sunset, casting long shadows and painting the sky with pinks and purples. Rosie hugging Zoran goodbye. Back near her village, Rosie wraps her arms around Zoran's neck, her eyes filled with gratitude. Zoran's gaze is kind and wise as he leans in close. Zoran disappearing into the sky. Rosie waves as Zoran takes flight once more, his figure silhouetted against a starry sky as he glides toward the distant mountains, his emerald scales glinting in the moonlight. Rosie telling her grandmother the story. Inside their cozy cottage, Rosie animatedly recounts her adventure to her grandmother, who listens intently by the fire, a knowing smile on her face. Rose's dream sequence. As Rosie drifts off to sleep, a dream sequence shows her flying alongside Zoran through starlit skies, with magical creatures watching from below. Ending shot of Rosie looking up at the stars. Rosie stands outside her cottage, looking up at the night sky with a hopeful smile, imagining Zoran watching over her, the stars twinkling like his eyes.